Thank you for watching Ben Television. This program is You Decide, where we give you information, facts, and analysis. But at the end of the day, you decide. I'm so glad you're watching. My name is Shegun Johnson, and I have in the studio with me our usual men who bring the best out of what we have around the globe. Where, as usual, we have Mazi Gosin Azu. Mazi, you are welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, my able Archbishop of Kent. I'm very glad to be here this morning. It's a great pleasure being with you again this week. My greetings go to all the viewers out there, wherever you are. I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. God bless.
Yes, we know everybody around the globe is watching us right now, and we have our in-house researcher Nat Iyako. Nat, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody.
Yeah, it's a great morning here in the city of London, and therefore we start all our discussions from the United Kingdom. The vaccination has started. The Queen and the Duke, they have received theirs. Have you received your own? Are you social distancing? Are you washing your hands? Penalties have increased to £500. We understand that 4,500 have been penalized, if not up to 45,000. Nat, please bring us up to date. What's happening in the United Kingdom concerning vaccination, social distancing, and COVID-19? Please, quickly.
Thank you very much. Initially, there were challenges in the rollout and distribution of the vaccines, but I think they have come over that issue now. The issue, the challenge, serious challenge now that people are not observing the COVID protocol. They are not observing the lockdown. People are just doing business as usual. They are still going to the beaches, the parties, and so that is where the challenge is now.
The fine has been increased. The fine has been increased.
But the human behavior, whether fine is increased or not, doesn't really change human behavior. I think the government have to think of a different strategy to come clean with the people, to communicate more effectively, let the people know exactly what is happening. The other issue that almost overshadowed COVID yesterday was the issue of lunch for the children, this free lunch. The people, the mothers are complaining that it's rubbish they are being given the children. It's not worth the money.
For £30.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to Mazi. Mazi. Godson. You want to finish something?
Yeah, the challenge also that the UK is facing now is that the patients in the hospital for normal sicknesses are being sent to hotels because they have run out of bed spaces.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's as serious as that. And CDCAN, some few days ago, said the thing is out of control in London.
What's the star? How many stars hotel are they sending them to?
Well, it didn't mention the star, but definitely cannot be 5 or 4 stars, maybe 3.
Let me ask Godson.
Yeah.
God forbid, will you mind a 5-star hotel recuperating in a 5-star hotel,
Well, in as much as I'm not hoping to be in that situation, and I'm not praying to be in that condition, a 5-star hotel is a classic place to be. If it takes...
But seriously, your question is this. I'm just joking with that one. Your question is this. John Lewis have stopped their click and collect. Many of these people, they try to rigmarole their way, and they say click and collect, and many people just stood in front of the store and in their car, and they go elect online, and then in few minutes they will be collecting. So they nullify the idea of stay home, and all the non-essential stores are opening. You see a queue in front of them. You studied European behavior at the university level. Do you think we can change the pattern of the people with COVID or no COVID?
Well, human behavior is paramount to the way society evolves, and without the mobility or the social conduct of people in a society, it becomes difficult to understand the evolutionary context of a society, and in the sense how the society evolves or grows in terms of its developments. And in the face of a pandemic, there's always that line that is drawn between the reality and the artificial context of human behavior. And many of us have a natural conduct of the way we are steamed up to behave or to act as humans. But then when a scientific situations like this arises that tends to change the natural behavior, natural mood of people in a society, it becomes difficult to really control such natural beings. And so it's a new phenomenon, and I believe that it's going to be difficult to many people, like some quarters of discourse has been going around in social media and other media outlets, are believing that most deaths has been caused by loneliness, by people being stuck at home unusually in their lifetime. They've never experienced a situation whereby people are locked up by the government for months without end, and then restricted from having other interference with other relations, families, friends, and it becomes a very big mental issue, and many people are dying because of that particular fatigue. Not actually.
Okay, let me refresh you of the role of anthropologists when we see behavioral pattern like this. Once upon a time, some Catholics, Reverend sisters, went to East Africa, and they were wearing trousers to minister to the people. And the people sent them away. We don't want to talk to you. And they were wondering, what have we done wrongly? And somebody told them they didn't expect Reverend sisters to be wearing trousers, because in that community, trousers depict prostitutes. And so they changed from wearing trousers to wearing their cassock, and the people embraced them just by changing their mode of dressing. The same thing happened in Liberia when they were using black material to convey medical personnel. And the people rebelled them, and Ebola was eating them until somebody said, no, in this area, you don't have to use black, because black means dead. So you have to use something like white. And they started wearing white, and then they embraced them. What is it that we can see anthropologically that we need to inform people that, look, you need to understand that COVID is real and it's killing them in their thousands on a daily basis? Do you think that's a way the government can minister to the rest of the people instead of using the stick rather than the carrot?
Well, like you have said, you see, the belief, the cultural belief or traditional conditions of men, of human nature, determines how people flow with communication or directions or order within the society. Just like this, you explained the anthropological analogy there earlier. It is very important, because when you look at the European community, the European people are people that really see themselves having that freedom to interact.
Yeah, I think the word is freedom.
With the
Freedom, yeah.
with the freedom to move around, the freedom to go to where they want to go, the freedom to express themselves the way they want to express themselves in an open space. And now when you are now enclosing them and depriving them from having that interaction with the open space, with nature, then it becomes a difficult thing. It's that they are very difficult people to contain in terms of putting them in a enclosed space while they need the
but they are dying. They are dying.
So for that to really happen, you need I mean, the only way is to be able to put some stringent measures that will allow the use of space, but at a very reasonable time space by those within the same circumference of space in that community. So you can see that when you travel to so many places across the United Kingdom, every community has a park, has a specific park closer to the community itself, or has a space where people can interact. But then the misuse of that the time framing, like in Peterborough here now, we have what we call the COVID marshals. We have what we call COVID marshals. I don't know if they have it in London, but they operate here.
No, we don't have such things in London.
We have COVID marshals who go about all over the various parks, go about all the various bike riding areas, go about around the city center. All the presence of the COVID marshals enable people to, when they sight them, if you're not wearing mask, you see somebody running to his bag or his pocket trying to get his mask and put it on. And they make people, when they see the COVID marshal, see the police, they tend to react, which is normal nature of people. They don't want to do anything until they see the force of the law around them, and then they react because they know the next thing you are paying fine or you are spending 2-3 days in the police whatever.
Okay, let me ask you.
That is another measure. Is a measure that the government will try to put in place. Like I said, the measure that will give people the conscious feeling at every point they are outside that they need to follow the protocol as much as they can to prevent protect themselves, prevent others also around them, and then also keep the entire environment free. Though they say that
let me ask you, how do you think they could curtail? They should curtail the teenagers and the 20s because they've been going to parties. Information reaching me says that the younger ones still attend parties. They may be asymptomatic, but they bring it to their parents. So a lot of parents and grandparents are having to test positive. So these young people, you can't stop them from partying, can you?
Yeah, I think in addition to what the two of you have said, there's a need for a holistic approach, a holistic strategy that brings everybody in society on board as to how to defeat COVID. Today, it is only the scientists, the medical sciences, and the politicians that are making decisions. As you mentioned, the youth should be included in decision making in this process, more so that they are the majority in the society. And so you should have on board the COVID team or COVID strategy, people like social anthropologists, psychologists, mental health experts. Everybody's hands should be on deck. There should have been a wider consultation on how do we defeat COVID. And COVID having been around in the UK for 1 year, there should have been a study group to really find out how do we best communicate to the public why there is need for everybody to observe the protocol. I think that's where.
Okay. But the Prime Minister is at the middle of a discussion. I don't want to call it a row at the moment. The Labour Party accused him of riding his bike more than 7 miles from his house, contravening the regulation that you should ride your bike within your area. And the Downing Street has defended Boris Johnson for riding his bicycle 7 miles from home, saying he complied with COVID rules during his trip. What is the correct position? Does anyone know the correct position? The government guidance. Do we know? If you are listening to us and you want to participate, you can email us nigeriansdecide@yahoo.com or comment on YouTube, and I will read any one of them. What do you know? What do you know that Boris Johnson has committed? Did he contravene the regulation, or what do you think we can tell the rest of the population not to go out to social distance? What is your view? Can we hear from you? Um, the government guidance says daily outdoor exercise is allowed, but people should not travel outside their local area. Should not travel outside their local area. How far is a local area? Gosim, how far is a local area from Peterborough?
I think the most important thing here is that the opposition parties should be able to make a reasonable argument with regards to how to resolve and find a lasting solution to COVID crisis, rather than pinning one individual or the other and looking for a political argument on issues that are very, very social and economic challenges to human life.
Let me ask you
I think the issue here is the protocols. 7 miles could still be within his
local area.
His local area, depending on how long he can ride around a particular place within Cambridge as a whole for 7 miles, and he can ride around the whole of Westminster across to part of southwest London for 7 miles, and it's still within his local area. So if somebody is saying 7 miles, can the person tell us from where he started to where? If he has ridden from Westminster to, let's say, Peckham, then he's gone out of his entire local boundary. But I believe that 7 miles could still be within the perimeters.
Okay, let me read you the reaction of the people. The people said people should go for exercise from your front door. I'm quoting now, from your front door and come back to your front door. She said, adding, that's my view of local. If you can ride as far as you want and then ride back, then that's your local. That is controversial. They said the Prime Minister's press secretary said the commissioner's words were wise. The instruction to stay local, and for her, a reasonable interpretation was to exercise from the front door, but to some people, it's more complicated. Everyone needs to exercise their own judgment, she added. Should we just find the Prime Minister and let life continue? Should the police just find the Prime Minister?
The police will have to justify what is 7 miles from his front door before they charge him. They have to justify what is 7 miles from his front door.
Before we continue
with this, the Prime Minister has pardoned himself. So you remember the incident of his former chief of staff, Dominic Cumming.
Yeah.
Who traveled hundreds of miles, and Boris Johnson defended him until the man had to go because he was quarreling with Boris' fiancée. So,
okay. All right, Nat, while you are still on, can you bring us up to date on Brexit? What's going on in Brexit? This issue of Northern Ireland will not go. Latest report shows that some shelves are getting empty in Northern Ireland, and as the Sainsbury's, Tesco, they are saying that the rule must be adjusted for them to supply to Northern Ireland, because Northern Ireland is still trading with the EU as if it's not part of the United Kingdom. So there is this challenge. What is the situation? What's going on?
Well, the challenge is still on, especially product like vegetables and other things coming from other parts of Europe. And the challenge the UK is going to face for some time is adjusting really what is on ground when Brexit is now on the past 10 or 11 days. Definitely there will be challenges in there, but I think the issues will be sorted out gradually. We may have to cope with some of the inconveniences for a very short while, but I think things will be sorted out.
Okay, Mazi, I know you are an expert in this area. To what extent do you think we have really moved away from EU, apart from the paper rhetorics?
Well, I think with the issue regarding that of Northern Ireland, I think there's still maybe a little bit more to be done to absolutely get the entire territorial
of the United Kingdom,
United Kingdom into the entire package of the deal that was agreed or reached by Boris Johnson and the EU a couple of weeks ago. I feel that the backtail crisis in Northern Ireland is still an issue with that of the Friday agreement. But then I still worry why part of part of Northern Ireland is still left to have a common trade relation with the rest of the EU. While the other
is the same thing not done with Gibraltar? Gibraltar is still having that kind of a special deal because it's within Europe anyway.
Yeah, I think it all also fall into that same argument because I know there was a bit of a very strong row between the EU and Britain over who takes, Spain actually, on who takes full responsibility of the island of Gibraltar. But then, island of Gibraltar has belonged to the EU for Britain for more than close to 100 years now, so more than 100 years now. And it will be very difficult for Britain to let that island go completely to Spain and then end up in the EU. And so the same problem is happening there. And that's why I said that in the initial state that even though the deal that was reached with the EU looks like there was a deal done, but then the deal is at some point not absolutely a very, very comprehensive deal in the sense that the backtail issue in Northern Ireland and the challenges with the island of Gibraltar is still a very hanging. It's like a loose fruit that may likely fall off at any time, and nobody knows who's going to have it, whether Britain's going to have it or the EU are going to have that fruit. So it's a very challenging, difficult process. But for now, I think the experiment is about how do they manage this situation or condition the next 5 years, or in the next 5 years. If it becomes a very strong and a very delicate challenge, I think there's going to be a review of the deal.
And Joe Biden has said. So Biden has said he will not.
The most issue now, the most issue I read this morning is that the custom and border agencies now are calling on the federal government to include them on the first phase of is it the fourth the first phase of people that need to be vaccinated, the COVID vaccination, because they see themselves as very, very at risk with regards to manding the borders with Brexit looming in the coming months. And so they needed to be vaccinated so that they can be sure of themselves and be sure of their ability to man the borders and maintain a good flow of trade traffic.
All right, let's move on. Thank you very much. Let's just move on because I want us to spend quality time in discussing what is affecting the world of democracy. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for that one. But if we can spend some 5 minutes before we go on break and then continue after break. Um, Nat, can you bring us up to date in the world of democracy? How it is widely believed that President Trump has desecrated the altar of democracy, and the Secretary of State Pompeo was rejected from all the European capitals he will have traveled to this week and next week. They told him that he was not welcome, so he had to stay at home. Is he going to be impeached today or not? Nat, please bring us up today.
Well, today is 13th of January 2021. On the 6th of January, just some 7 days ago, thereabout, we had this invasion of the Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. An attempted coup, let us put it that way, instigated by Donald Trump, a sitting president of the United States of America. So if we go by the definition of democracy, there was a breach. There was a breach, an attempt to redefine democracy, especially in the Western Hemisphere. As we speak, the House of Reps, headed by Nancy Pelosi, will be meeting in a few hours' time. The impeachment article was introduced yesterday, excuse me, on the floor of the House, and they'll be voting very soon. And the Senate Majority Leader McConnell has encouraged Nancy Pelosi to go ahead with the impeachment exercise, and some top members of the Republican Party, both in the House and the Senate, are quietly behind pushing for this impeachment. But again, Trump, as usual, is non-repentant. Yesterday, he said that what he did, the speech he gave on the 6th of January that led to the riot, was appropriate. It was totally appropriate. He hasn't seen himself doing anything wrong. He says impeachment doesn't bother him. Using the 25th Amendment again doesn't bother him. But the America as a country is worried with the behavior of their president, even the past 4 years, and especially last week, 6th of January. The other extension now is that Twitter banning Trump's page has also divided Americans. People said that is a fundamental human right, the right to express himself, the right to free speech, but his role as the president and the way he has used Twitter in the past 4 years is now questionable. He's divided America into two. And this Twitter issue also has become an international concern. How do the dictators or countries, banana republic countries, they are very happy with this. They are not happy with this Twitter thing because they want to use it on their people, and especially social media outlets. We know countries like Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda have introduced stringent measures on the use of Twitter and even the mass media. I know
actually,
we are coming to Nigeria. So,
yeah.
So when we come to Nigeria, we'll have more to talk about the social media and related issues.
As we speak, Uganda has removed the plug of Twitter. saying that there's an election and Twitter has removed from the officials of the government, and therefore they ban everything. That is, Twitter is not operating in that place. They believe that if you could remove that of their president and their senior government officials, then you should be able to remove for everybody, which is a level field. That is the system we're going at. But America has not been able to do that. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll be reacting to what is going on in the United States of America, or shall I say, the democratic world. For this is democracy on trial. Stay with us.
Ben TV, your ethnic and Africa-led television, welcomes your input, contribution, and support to facilitate our continuous program production, campaign for projects, and other media-related services. We have been here for closer to 2 decades.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. The program is You Decide. So we give you the information, we give you facts, and we give you analysis. But it's your decision that matters. We have this report. It says that the following companies have halted their funding contributions to the Republican Party and all its elected representatives until further notice. Maybe this list has been extended, but the ones I have here: JP Morgan, Citi, Marriott, FedEx, RNA, Walmart, Microsoft, the Blue Cross and Blue Shield, PGA Tour Professional Golf, Facebook, Google, Coca-Cola, AT&T. Now, these ones have stopped giving funding to the Republican Party. If the list has been extended since 2 days ago, please, we'll be glad to have them. And we believe that democracy is on trial, not just for the United States, and that's why we're interested. What kind of democracy are we going to adopt in different countries? Um, at the moment, it appears that whoever wins could be challenged, even legitimately, where he has legitimately won, and where the courts have said he has won legitimately. You could still be saying no, he has not won, and the meaning of that is that democracy has lost its meaning, where they say the majority carries the vote. In the case of Joe Biden, he has the majority of electoral college votes, and he also has the majority of the people. But the incumbent president, President Trump, is saying this is not acceptable. We are going to inaugurate Joe Biden, but he did not win the election. And therefore, we have a contradiction. Yesterday, one of the Republican legislators was asked, did Joe Biden win the election? And he replied, Joe Biden will be sworn in on the 28th of January 2021. That was not the answer they were expecting. The question, did Joe Biden win the election on November 3rd, 2020, and he replied Joe Biden will be sworn in on the 28th, which means that from his own position, he might not have received the legal votes, even though they are conceding that he should be sworn in. And these are the challenges of democracy right now. Can you challenge legitimate voting system and legitimate results? Legitimate because the courts, including the Supreme Court, say so. Mazi, let's start from you. Democracy is on trial. Do we now have a new on the concept of democracy?
Thank you, Doc. I think it's been all coming because people have been trying to find different means to test the strength of our modern day democracy around the world. And in this essence, there are those who feel that in as much as the United States has been promoting the values and the ethics of democracy around the world, there is need to really put to challenge how the undercover agendas that have been going on in sustaining the kind of democracy that we have in the United States, which has been overshadowing the rest of the world, seeing America as the pinnacle of democratic order globally. But then in recent time, that has become an issue now, though I still see democracy as the best form of governance in modern day history or in the 21st century. And I don't see the difference from what is happening in the United States now, changing the values and the core ethics of democracy.
Please explain to our viewers. Explain to our viewers what is the exact reason that Donald Trump is holding on to. That he said they stole the result from him. What is his point?
The fact here, and I want to say it again, is that if I'm not mistaken, I think in modern history, Donald Trump is the only elected president of the United States that has no in-depth political background. And having come from this point of view, as a business-minded person with a different mind view of what America is and what America ought to be, it has given him a different approach on running and governing the United States of America. Obviously, we know that the Republican is a conservative, capitalist, ideological tinted political institution. And as such, they promote the principles of capitalism. And unfortunately, they ended up with a president who had no political inclination, and as such brought in his business mindedness into politics and tried to run politics with business. And that has brought the crisis that is facing right now. And at the same time, we see that the incursion, today we may see Trump crying foul, but the fact is that the election in the United States has brought in an open window of the interference of democracy by rogue states and parochial states such as Russia and China. These two elements operate and control the back end of many social media networks around the world. And they run a very strong cybersecurity networks around the world. And that is affecting many elections, not only in the United States, but even here and across Europe. These guys sit down somewhere and determine what happens at the end of an election in anywhere in the country. They manipulate the back end of the system. So I still believe that whatever happened in the last election that brought Trump in, which up to date are still battling in the court or somehow in the media, social media, of Russia's interference. I still believe that could have been the case. And I still believe that that is still also the case right now, that either Russia or China are also interfering in the back end of this particular election. But then it's about security, it's about the security of the
okay, one question.
Yeah. So
one question, Mazi. Did you see President Trump being the one that engineered his supporters to that disgraceful act upon the Capitol Hill last week?
Yeah, like I said, Donald Trump, I mentioned earlier on, is one kind of a president that has never been seen since the last time of Truman or is it Truman or who, the scandal guy in the United States. I can't remember his name. He's one president of his kind in present day American democracy that has a very, very complicated, unpredictable behavior. And like somebody said, he has been allowed, even when it is not expected, to operate American government and society through the handles of his social media network, which is very, very unacceptable in every corner of it. And as such, if with an individual before he became a president had close to about 20 million or 25 million followers on Twitter, and then he became a president, and then he took over that advantage, and as such tweets tweets at unreasonable times, tweets unreasonable messages,
Okay.
tweets
One more question.
messages, because he
because I want to move
he took the American security very, very lightly. He doesn't respect.
Okay, one more question for you, Mazi. What is the role of the evangelicals in all of these upheavals? Do you think the evangelicals have helped the situation?
Well, when you talk about the evangelical, the evangelicals have a different view of how they think America should be run or how America should go. The evangelical see America as a country that is guided by the principles of the Christian faith, and as such, in as much as people think that the evangelical support a Republican president, is unfortunate, but the evangelicals are split. They have some of them who stand in for the Republican, they have some of them that stands in for the Democrats. And in as much as the individual shows any sign of belief that the nation must stand on the principles of faith in Christianity, then they will give that support to that person. I still say that the evangelicals are not in total support of what Trump has been doing over the years, and as such, but unfortunately, Trump is taking an advantage of the name of the evangelical to operate, and I believe the evangelicals knows when things go out of hand. It doesn't really look good for them as a group of an institution within the democratic or the.
Let me ask the same question. Let me ask the same question to Nat. Nat, the evangelicals, they believe that Trump should be given another 4 more years. Well, the evangelicals have become a group to be reckoned with in the American politics, and most of them reside in the Bible Belt of America. We're talking of the area of Phoenix, Texas, Nevada, along that line, and they're called the Bible Belt. And they believe that they have had God, and Trump should be the one to be given 4 years, 4 more years, because he's been on the side of God and on the side of Israel. Now, the majority of the people did not vote for Trump, and this has been a clash. And I'm not sure whether they are ashamed of using the name of God in a democratic setting.
Well, the evangelicals, especially around the Bible Belt you mentioned, some call them the Southern Baptists. They have always taken a stand. In fact, they normally vote as a bloc when it comes to presidential election. And we know that almost 1 year ago, before 2020, they had prophesied or projected or forecast that Donald Trump is going to have another 4 years. And so the issue now is what will the Southern Baptists or the evangelicals, will they support what happened on January 6, 2021 in the Capitol Hill? Since
they've been quiet.
Hello?
I said they have been quiet.
Yeah, they have been quiet, and this time around, silence means consent, or or something near that. But the issue is beyond Trump as an individual. We are talking of democracy. We are talking of United States of America, the shining light of democracy. So what will be their position now? What are they saying? Will they not talk? Will they participate? Some of their members are in Congress. Will they participate in the impeachment? Will they participate in the trial in the Senate? These are questions for answer. But an interesting thing happened on the floor of the House of Reps on the 6th of January, 2021. Yeah. When the rioters were coming in, breaking every window and doors, Representative Rose Rochester was recorded that she was on her knees praying to God for protection, not only for her, but for the legislators and for America.
Wow.
Yes.
And what's the result of the prayer? Because we understand that many of them have been tested positive now, because the Republican representatives did not use the mask, and those of them in the same room, there have been transfer of the coronavirus. I don't know whether it's in the same room she was lying. But Nat, I still want to ask you one more question.
Yes.
To what extent do you think the demagogues of developing countries will now use this situation where they will reject an official result? Because that is what democracy is turning to in America, when the incumbent is rejecting the result. Is that going to be the norm now? Is that the new norm now?
No, but even before January 6, 2021, in the Capitol Hill, we have seen some of these banana republics, developing countries, the incumbents refusing to let go. They will manipulate the votes. They will manipulate the collection center and manipulate the announcements. And so they are very happy with what is going on. But before on, you had said the prayers work. Yes, the prayer worked. If not, the Capitol Hill wouldn't have been able to finish completing the counting of votes, adopting the college vote, and announcing that officially, by what the Constitution says, that Joe Biden is going to be the 46th president of America, even though some people are killed.
Let me ask you one more question before I go to Mazi.
Yes.
Have you heard of any African leader condemning the invasion of the Capitol? We've heard of that of Boris Johnson. He said it was disgraceful. Macron said this is not America. Angela Merkel said this is shocking. And China and Russia, they've all commented and lambasted these vicious attack on the legislature of America. Has any African leader said anything that you know?
Well, if you say leader, yes, but not head of state or president. Some top politicians in some of these African countries have now said.
You know, a leader of a wait. You know, the leader of a country is the president or prime minister, as the case may be. So has any president or prime minister in Africa condemned this action?
But when some presidents don't talk, some people talk for them. In Nigeria, in Nigeria, politicians have come to say America should come and land democracy in their country. They will send people to America to teach them democracy.
So you want to tell me that between Buhari, Nana Akufo-Addo, that is the Ghanaian president, the Nigerian president. I'm trying to look for the big countries in Africa. Ouattara in Ivory Coast, Ramaphosa in South Africa, Kenyatta in Kenya. You mean all of these, and none of them could condemn that action? Why? What is the reason why they're so much afraid to condemn? Like every other developed country leader had condemned this action. Why?
Yeah, because the institutions in America stood up for democracy, stood up for the rule of law, stood up and upheld the constitution, which these other people have mentioned don't have any regard for. It is more of a dictatorial democracy. It's not liberal in any way, and there is all attempts to muzzle the press. There's all even attempts to ban social media operations in most of these countries. So
okay.
maybe after Trump is impeached, then they will now talk.
So you are trying to say that these people are particularly afraid of the aid they may receive from US being stopped, or they're afraid, probably they are afraid of reprisal after a while, because they spoke against the giant America. Because I see no reason why none of them could condemn the action. But let me ask Mazi. Mazi, what is the future of democracy? Because this assault on the Capitol Hill is not just on the legislature of the United States alone. What's the future of democracy? Because many will always refer to what Trump has done, still claiming victory, even though walking away, and is not going to attend the inauguration himself. I said he's going to walk away. What future has democracy? Because all of these things could collapse. We've seen the Soviet Union collapse, so it's not going to be a new thing.
Yeah, the future of democracy is still very, very intact. I still believe it's very, very intact. This is just one single individual trying to challenge the principles and the institutions of democracy.
One individual with 75 million people. One individual plus 75 million.
Well, one individual with 75 million people with sentimental beliefs and ideas that doesn't correspond with the reality of human nature in today's modern world. So it doesn't make a difference. These people are not, they are 75 million in figures, but in reality, they are not up to 75 million. So I can obviously debate that anyway. But the fact remains that Donald Trump is just an individual, and democracy is a global institution, and with its roots across Europe and America, it's going to be very, very difficult to bring down democracy, such as the collapse of communism and the challenges of socialism going on today. Democracy as an institution that is tied with the existence of humans and building of societies in modern world today is the only best form of people being able to decide how they are governed and how they can be governed by whoever.
Will you suggest to the Nigerian president to denounce what happened on the Hill?
Well, I believe every reasonable democratically elected leader around the world should denounce the actions of Donald Trump. trying to undermine the principles of democracy, the institutions of democracy, which is the bedrock of sustaining a decent and peaceful society around the world. I believe anybody that is elected generally.
Are you disappointed like me that none of them, not one African leader, denounced it? Even India, the leader in India has denounced it. And why can't we get even one African leader? Is there any reason?
Well, I don't know what reason, but I don't know if they have their own personal reasons. But for me, I think one of the reasons is that Africans still feel themselves intimidated. They still feel this modern day colonialism by the powers. They are afraid to speak because they wouldn't know what will be the end result of the actions.
The repercussion.
They wouldn't know the repercussion if at the end of the day Donald Trump end up staying in power, and then they have already accused and insulted him. How he would react to Africans?
Don't they have their own understanding?
If they encourage Biden and say Biden should be president, and Biden becomes president, and they end up not even giving an iota of interest to Africa. It happened before. Africans supported Obama, but he never gave interest to Africa for 8 years. He never gave anything very tangible to Africa for 8 years of his rule. So Africans are very myopic in the way they play their international politics. They are not very strong in playing global politics. The way their foreign policies are designed is not giving them the opportunity to have a say in the global table, and so they are very careful in the way they react to certain things, so that the non-aligned movement links with Africa and the intrusions of Russia and China in Africa is giving African leaders a very, very challenging mood of making decisions in the international system. And as such, the reactions they may give today may end up being negative to some of the African countries that may have voiced their voice out.
But not for giants of Africa like Nigeria and South Africa. Not for giants like that. I mean, if whatever their leader will say, they will get away with it. And besides, they are saying things they believe in. And I'm just trying to see that.
I hope I would have for me I would have expected the likes of Ramaphosa in South Africa to have come up and speak out, very boldly about what he thinks is wrong and right in the process.
I think there are three nations.
I believe like the likes of what's his name? Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta in Kenya should have been able to come up and say, look, it happened here, and we took it by the bull, and then we defeated it. And
Buhari should have said something too.
I expect the new president of Malawi, who also had that democratic crisis and challenge, and then the institutions stood and then made the right decisions, and then democracy became a reality in Malawi, to stand up and say, look, Donald Trump, accept the fact and let's move on, and if there's anything, let us know. If you have evidences that China interfered in this election, let us know. If you have evidences that Russia...
Why would Buhari not say something? Why you didn't mention Buhari?
The accuser of the brethren cannot even accuse other when you also you have a case to answer, and then the same you are sweeping things under the carpet. It's going to be challenging for you to go and tell somebody that is not doing well when you are not doing well. So it's a very tricky thing. So you can use a third-party arrangement to make it. Let's leave it at that. The third-party arrangement is making the statement on behalf.
Let's leave it at that. We have to go on a break right now. When we return, we will concentrate on what is going on in Nigeria and in Ghana. Some things are going on in Nigeria. We're going to look at what is going on in Nigeria. Insecurity will be one of them. Economy will be another. The death of so many people, notable people, especially professors. About 10 professors died in 10 days. So we'll be looking at that. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ben TV, your ethnic and Africa-led television, welcomes your input, contribution, and support to facilitate our continuous program production, campaign for projects, and other media-related services. We have been here for closer to 2 decades.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. The program is You Decide. We give you information, facts, and analysis, but at the end of the day, you decide. I'm here with my colleagues, Nat Yakwo and Gosin Azu. We want to look at the level of insecurity in Nigeria. Over the past few months, we've been discussing the insecurity, hoping that something will be done. But let us first of all update ourselves as to the challenges and how the government has been trying to resolve these challenges. I'm going to invite my colleague Nat Yako to update us on the issues of insecurity in Nigeria. Nat.
Thank you very much, Dr. Johnson. The issue of insecurity in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. And as we speak today, things are getting worse than they were 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 5 years ago, or even 6 years ago. Daily now, we have these Boko Haram people killing people, attacking army barracks, destroying schools, and all whatnot. And we know Boko Haram has its epicenter in the northeast geopolitical zone in Nigeria, especially Borno State, where the capital is Maiduguri. The only secured place in northeast Nigeria in Borno State now is Maiduguri, the state capital, and maybe 5 kilometers outside the capital. Any other place, you are not secured. Yobe State with their neighbors with Borno State, last week, even over the weekend, soldiers were killed, civilians were killed by Boko Haram terrorists. Then you for the first time there have been attacks in Kano. Kano is in the northwest geopolitical zone, and we are familiar with Zamfara State, Katsina State, Kaduna State, especially southern Kaduna, Kebbi State. We are familiar, and they have now moved in Borno State. Before I leave Borno State, they control more than 10 local governments. It's a caliphate, part of the caliphate. They have established the caliphate. In Katsina State, we are talking of more than 5 local governments. In Zamfara State, the bandits have run over the state, even after negotiations with them and giving them money. The epicenter is gradually moving, of bandits is moving to Niger State, where the bandits are now controlling 5 local government of Shiroro local government, Rafi local government, Moye local government, Magama local government. They are controlling, and Niger State is strategically located in the middle belt of Nigeria. You move from Niger State to Kogi, their neighbors with Kogi State. You cannot travel between Abuja, Lokoja, Okene, and Benin. Benin is in Edo State. They are now in Nasarawa State. Nasarawa State, the southern part of Nasarawa State, bordering with the Federal Capital Territory and with Kogi State, in total local government area. There have been killings, kidnappings, and so many other things. In the south, especially the Niger Delta State, maybe minus Ondo, the Niger Avengers, the men's people, have now come out to declare that they will start attacking the oil pipelines, which is the lifeline of the Nigerian economy. The southwest, we have the Fulani herdsmen are causing havoc, and they have not able, the southwest, Amotekun is now trying to take them head on. But in the southwest, we're still talking of kidnapping, we're still occultic activities, and the killing of people for rituals is now a threat in the southwest. In the southeast, they are also trying to cope with the challenges of the herdsmen. They haven't got their own southeast security apparatus yet. We have the IPOB, also very growing strong, and maybe stronger every other day. So that's a snapshot of the security situation in Nigeria. It is very sad, it's daring, and it's unfortunate.
I have a question for you. To what
Yes.
extent has the federal government agreed with the people of other nations in the northern part of Nigeria, that is Chad, Sudan, Republic of Niger, and part of Dahomey or Republic of Benin? To what extent has the federal government agreed that they could come in and settle in Nigeria? Because you mentioned 5 local governments in Niger State. We used to have Borno being occupied by Boko Haram, but Niger State is in the middle belt. You mean the federal government has accepted them to settle there also?
You know, we have 19 northern states, and
Yes.
around 17 of the northern states have their governors as Fulanis, and that goes with Islam. Yeah, and that goes with Islam. And they have lent some support to what is the insecurity in their states, especially areas like Niger State, Kaduna State, especially southern Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, Jigawa, Kano. They're just turning a blind eye or turning away from the reality on ground. So this is what is happening. And you know, Niger State in particular, though geographically belong to the middle belt, but politically they are with the northwest geopolitical zone.
Okay. Thank you very much for that update. Mazi, let me ask you, is there a complicity between the federal government and the Fulanis of the northern part of Africa to settle in Nigeria? Because all the leaders, these 17 Fulani governors, plus the president of Nigeria, they swore to the Nigerian constitution that they would defend the integrity of the territory of Nigeria. Yet the borders are so porous, and not only that, they crisscross all over the place, they also settle, and they are now in the middle belt of Nigeria without any government harassing them. In Kaduna, they're there. In Zamfara, they're there. not to talk of Sokoto. Is like, do we have government at all?
Well, Doc, if you ask me, I will ask you, do we have a government too? Because we all need to answer the question collectively that do we really have a functioning government in Nigeria? And one of the key principles of democracy is to enshrine a good government in a society. And if you have a practicing or a functioning democracy in any society, and such society is still not really operating within the ambit of a governing system, then something is wrong somewhere. And I believe something is wrong somewhere within the Nigerian governing system. And until we begin to tell ourselves the obvious truth, we continue to live in the state of ignorance. When you live in that state of ignorance, obviously you have yourself to blame because no order for the consequences that are unfolding. And that is the situation in Nigeria, from my own understanding. First of all, I would say that in the real sense of it, Nigeria is not supposed to be having this particular insecurity situation lingering for this long. Why? First, Nigeria is regarded as the powerhouse, as the political and economic and military powerhouse of West Africa. The West African states all depends on what comes out of Nigeria and what goes through in Nigeria. Today, Nigeria is not supposed to be suffering any insecurity if they have stood to uphold that influence, that West African power influence that they had. You remember many years ago, through the ECOWAS institution, a military formation was set up called ECOMOG. Today, if ECOMOG is functioning in its reality, if ECOMOG has gone to places like Liberia, Gambia, Cote d'Ivoire, and so on and so forth, to defend the integrity and the sovereignty of such states being collapsed, being at the fringe of being collapsed, and we are able to bring those countries back to order, why are we not hearing about the forces of ECOMOG doing something in Nigeria today? Why have nobody asked, where is that ECOMOG forces? Is ECOMOG, has it been banished? Has it been shut down? Is there no one thing like ECOMOG? Secondly, why is it that we have a president that keep telling Nigerians that borders are closed, and yet we have infiltrations of people from Niger and as far back as Mali, Burkina Faso, and Sudan entering Nigeria and claiming to be Nigerians, even without a Nigerian passport? And they are going as far as land grabbing in the name of whatsoever. And then the president is sitting, even in his own state, because the first stop should be the president before the governor. The president should ensure.
Do you know the old Songhai Empire? The old Songhai, are they not creating the old Songhai? You know, we used to have Mali Empire, Songhai Empire,
Shanghai Empire, and the rest.
Is that not what they have? That we have a Songhai Empire in Nigeria right now? We can be pretending we don't.
Why we are having it is happening gradually. They tried it in Mali. They tried to carve out an empire of theirs in Mali. It never worked. The French people stood and fought them to the end. They moved on, and they are moving along the Sahel and the desert, and they are coming into a country where they feel that there is porous governance. No
The old Borno Empire has taken place now. We now have the Borno Empire as in the old, before
of course. The fact remains that there's an issue going on. There's an issue going on, and just like many of us are arguing that the crisis in the United States is as a result of Chinese and Russian interferences in the United States. So also we are having the issues in Africa. The problems we're having in Africa at this moment is the interference of ISS and the Islamic jihadist agendas that are all operating from Mali, from Algeria, from Morocco, operating all the way from the north of Africa, and even as far as Pakistan and Afghanistan, and they are funding these missions and operations with a huge amount of money, and that is why I keep saying to people that what we're saying started as a little thing. And these little things are being created, are started being recreated again in other parts of Nigeria. I just hope that what the plan that the Metiala are planning to orchestrate in the southwest by trying to infiltrate Amotekun does not happen. Because the moment they infiltrate Amotekun, that's the end of Amotekun, and that's the beginning of the greatest crisis in the whole of southwest. And the same thing is happening in the Niger Delta area with the Niger Delta Avengers and the rest of them. They are taking it lightly that they are taking over the waterways, the high sea, hijacking and piracy agenda. The moment these guys that are coming down from all the way from Mali, Burkina Faso, Sudan, these guys are more experienced in piracy jobs from Somalia. These are skilled pirates. They will come infiltrate the Niger. Then they are coming in different forms, and they are looking for every porous organizations, loose organizations. And once they enter into it, and they get to know what they are doing, they take over and take advantage of it. The same thing is happening to what. The same thing happens to what
we have a DSS report now.
What Nnamdi Kalu is forming up in the South.
DSS report. Let me update you. We have a DSS report. Nat, you have this DSS report saying that there is a planned religious war in Nigeria. Please give us the detail of these DSS reports. Those of you who don't know the meaning of DSS, it means Department of State Security. There is this report on the planned religious war in Nigeria. Please keep up to date.
Yeah, thank you very much. The DSS brought out a report sometime last week, and it's within their mandate because it's a security outfit among the other 27 security organizations. The DSS will normally monitor the state of the nation, especially with emphasis with internal security. And they brought out a report, which is not their first time. I'm sure the report was presented to the National Security Advisor, Minister of Defense, and the Presidency to tell Nigerians and maybe the world that some religious leaders are preaching and inciting and creating tension and conflict that may likely lead to a religious war in Nigeria. Though they didn't mention the religion, but for sure it will be the Muslims and the Christians in Nigeria. And so they have said they will not allow such things to happen. They will be on ground. They will comb everywhere to identify those individuals and be dealt with. So Nigeria is waiting for the DSS to go further and tell the whole world the religion they have in their report, the names of those sponsoring those religious conflicts, and then the world is waiting. Nigeria is waiting.
In the meantime, the federal government has created jobs for 774,000 Nigerians to be paid 20,000 naira per month for 3 months. Please bring us up to date on that as well. what kind of a job will they be doing? Are they being given computers and laptops or what?
Yeah, the issue of the federal government giving jobs to 774,000 Nigerians, which is 1,000 per local government. We have 774 local governments in Nigeria, 36 states plus Abuja. This issue has been on and off. In the National Assembly, we have seen the Minister of State for Labor, Festus Keyamo, arguing and exchanging hot words with the House of Reps, especially, and even the Senate. And they have put off the launching a number of times. But on Monday, which was the 13th, no, sorry, today is 13th, Monday 11th of January 2021, Festus Keyamo launched the 774,000 jobs created by the federal government. And what I have been able to collect from other states, the federal government sent ministers to their various states to launch this 774,000 jobs. The jobs will last for 3 months, 20,000 naira per month, and it will involve them clearing gutters. And then I had one phrase called vegetation control, which vegetation control simply means grass cutting grass. And and what they launched it with what wheelbarrow. We all know what a wheelbarrow is. I don't know if the Europe here will know wheelbarrow.
Oh, come on, everybody knows wheelbarrow.
Okay, cutlasses, which may be a machete, hose, and maybe baskets. So that in the 21st century, when people are talking of the fourth industrial revolution, when people are talking of IT-driven projects, when people are talking of artificial intelligence, people are talking of advancement in science and technology, we are still talking about cutlasses and hoes and wheelbarrows. And what we foresee, because Keyamo did his own in a Delta, where he comes from, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Zuberi Dada, did his own in Mina, Niger State, where we come from. And people are concerned, if you are talking of creating jobs, you don't just dash people 60,000 naira in 3 months, and that is the end of that job creation. I think what the APC federal government is simply trying to do is to distribute arms to, when I mean arms of weapons of mass destruction to its members, because you will notice that the job distribution will going to be along party lines. And so here we are in Nigeria. Instead of moving forward, we are going backwards.
Okay, Mazi, some have argued that this is a way for federal government to reduce the 30,000 naira minimum per month to 20,000 naira minimum, so that is a quiet way of reducing that minimum wage. Some also have argued that it will create more money for the northern states of Nigeria. For instance, Kano has 44 local governments, so that's 44,000 times 60,000, whereas Lagos has 12 local governments, and so is Lagos is going to suffer, so also the most of the southern states, and many of the northern states have got a number of local governments more than the south. What's your take on this?
Yeah, Doc, I think just like my colleague and Bishop have said earlier on, this is just a ridiculous situation where Nigeria, as much as I'm concerned, lacks a very formidable policy approach and an idealistic, systemic way of making things happen for the greater good of the greater number of Nigerians in modern society. Because for me, I don't see any I don't see any real factor behind the creation of this 774,000 jobs for 3 months and then throwing away billions of naira that Nigeria is borrowing. We're borrowing to pay these whole things. It's not that we are selling any specific number of oil that is giving us any major economic financial profit at the moment to be able to throw away the money, throw away such hard-earned reserves. We are borrowing from our reserves. We are borrowing from pension funds. We are borrowing from liquidity reserves and whatsoever, and then we are using it to throw away. Irrespective of whatever, I believe that Nigeria should be able to create a social security system. A social security system that gives guarantee of, even though if it is 1,000 or 2,000 naira to every adult Nigerian until you are able to find a job, rather than doing this politically motivated structure that is just a waste of money. Tell me, I want to see in 3 months' time people to go around and do evaluation. Where and how was these jobs completed? If you're asking people to clear vegetables, which vegetables are they clearing? Are they clearing vegetables on the highway? Are they clearing vegetables in the bushes? Are they going to be giving some forests to go and clear? Are they going to be clearing people's compounds? Are they going to be sweeping their villages? Are there people not sweeping villages before they arrive with these whole numbers? Are they going to be sweeping their community squares? They're going to be sweeping marketplaces. They're going to be sweeping gutters in villages and communities. We need to do an analysis, an evaluation, re-evaluation of the outcome of this 3 months job, and why is so much billion wasted? Because like Nat said, this is arming political elements for election purposes in 2 years' time. Because when you give young people cutlasses for free, hoes for free, that they will use for 3 months and go and keep and be used when it is needed for actions, then you are just telling people that you are preparing for an agenda that is going to happen in a couple of months or years to come. This is how
What if the federal government argue? Hold on, Mazi. What if the federal government argue that they're trying to kickstart the younger generation to know how to work with their hands, and maybe some of them will pick up from there? Is a way to kickstart. They say we have about 65% under 35 in Nigeria. So let us kickstart them with wheelbarrow and with cutlasses. I don't know whether they are graduates or not, but what if it could work that way?
Doc, that argument does not hold water in modern society. In the 21st century, you are arming young people with wheelbarrow and cutlass in the giant of Africa. Can you see South Africa saying they are arming their people and arming their young men and women, even though they have one of the worst as black people on earth in South Africa? Have you heard Ramaphosa say that he's creating a job for 2 months to give his people job and giving them wheelbarrow and cutlass to go to the Zulu villages and be cutting grasses and cutting? What do you mean? Have you seen any African? Can you Ghana, Kofo? Can Kofo call people and say, look, 2 months I'm paying you, giving you wheelbarrow and cutlass to go and be cutting people? And then in a whole Nigeria, giant of Africa, the largest black nation in the whole world, you wake up one morning and say you are arming your people with wheelbarrow and cutlass to go and work for 3 months in a modern society? A country where Facebook is begging for money. Facebook is going to Nigeria and begging. A country where you have 45 million people, 50 million people on social media daily basis. Do you know how much money they're making for Facebook? A country where you have an approximately 150 million people owing for mobile phone. Do you know how much they're making for the telecommunication people? You are giving them cutlasses. Wheelbarrow.
Okay. We have to go on a short break.
Nigeria It's an insult to the
We just have to go on a short break. Mazi, I know you are passionate about
That
this.
is an insult.
Hold on.
That money should have been
It's
used
our
to
break
build
time. We must go on break. We must go on break.
Agricultural
We
plant.
must go on break, Mazi. We must go on break. I know
That is
you
an
are very
insult.
passionate. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll be telling you what's going on in Ghana. Ghana is at a crossroad. They're finding it very difficult to move on after their presidential election and parliamentary election. The two main parties there, the NPP, NDC, they have equal number of votes, 137, with one independent. How will they go? It's a very, very dire situation in Ghana. Unfortunately, they can't even invite America to help them. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Ben TV, your ethnic and Africa-led television, welcomes your input, contribution, and support to facilitate our continuous program production, campaign for projects, and other media-related services. We have been here for closer to 2 decades.
Welcome back. Thanks for watching Ben Television. The program is You Decide. I still have my colleagues here with me, Nat Yakwo and Mazi Gosin Azu. We want to discuss issues going on in neighboring country of Nigeria, Ghana. And Ghana has been doing well generally in democratic issues after the coups of yesteryears. And they've been handing over to one another relatively peacefully. But there was an election, 7 December 2020, and it appears that there is a tie among the two main parties. I'm going to ask our in-house researcher, Nat Yakwo, to bring us up to date. Nat.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Ghana, which used to be Gold Coast, has experienced stable democracy for many years now, and it became an envy for other West African countries and even the whole of Africa. But after Kofo Addo of the NPP defeated John Mahama 4 years ago, they met again on the presidential ballot presidential elections, December 7, 2020. That the result of that election is still being disputed. But what became a source of concern for people lovers of democracy, we saw for the first time the sitting president, who has been inaugurated for another term, Kofo Addo, bringing in soldiers for elections. And at the end of the day, his party was declared winner in a hurry. But John Mahama of NDP,
John Mahama.
John Mahama of NDP has rejected the results of those presidential elections, and he has approached the court and even the Electoral Commission to recount the votes, because even the Electoral Commission accepted mistakes in the announcement of some of the figures, but somehow Ado was declared the president and has been sworn in. When they came into the election for the Speaker of the National Assembly in Ghana, the party in opposition, the NDP, who has 375 members, NPP has 376. The NDP, which is the opposition party, won the election for speaker. So the speaker of the National Assembly in Ghana is controlled, is led by an opposition. Presidential is led by the NPP. And so the issue now is, when do we expect the outcome from the course of the presidential elections in Ghana? How will Ado, go for Ado, how is he going to run the federal system when you have the minority as leader in the parliament? So these are some of the challenges, these are the questions we now have.
Make it plain for our viewers. They don't operate presidential system in Ghana, they operate parliamentary system. Unfortunately, the parliament is being controlled by the opposition. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So are you envisaging there will be some challenges to pass the policies through?
Yes, because even when the elections were on, the parliament, there was pandemonium, and the first port of call was Ado bringing in military soldiers into the parliament, but the parliamentarians resisted the soldiers and told them to go back to the barracks. This is parliament. This is home of democracy.
Oh my word. Mazi, are you still there with me?
Yeah,
Mazi,
I'm here.
Are you hearing what is happening in the neighboring country of Nigeria, Ghana? We thought Ghana was getting it right. So what's going on there now?
Well, I believe that Ghana is still a little bit much better the way they are operating their democratic system. Like you said earlier on, they run a unitary system of government, a parliamentary form of democracy, which is likened to that which we are experiencing here in the United Kingdom. But then you obviously you always have all this kind of misconceptions within a political era, and when this happens, it depends on how such issues are being resolved within the yardstick of the democratic institutions that are in place to find a resounding resolution to such crisis. I believe that the Ghanaian system will be able to overcome this crisis with the view that over the years they've practiced more longer democratic process and situation more than that which we have in Nigeria today. At least they've been in the democratic dispensation for over 30, close to 35 or so years now, since the era of the late Jerry Rawlings. May so rest in peace. He was able to drive through the democratic process in Ghana that still stands today in the 90s. So they have got they've got a yardstick of measure that they can use to address their crisis and have a way through it. And so I believe, and I think that in real sense of it, Nigeria should also be looking at restructuring its political system, its democratic structure, to align with what most essentially we have in Ghana the unitary system, the parliamentary system, where each region will have their own right of autonomy and then align with the center in terms of being able to bring to the table whatever measures of contribution. And then people will be working on the comparative advantage principle of economy. What your area can be able to contribute to the table determines what you get out of that table at the end of every meeting. It's not going to be determined by population, by
I think,
conceit
thank
of
you.
population agenda, which is what is killing Nigeria today. Like my Igbo bishop said there, or you said so earlier on, that Kano has 44 local government. And how come Kano have 44 local government when a state like Lagos has 26 or something local government, and a state like Oyo has 20 something local government, and they all have almost the same, even a larger landmass than that of Kano in reality.
Okay, let me ensure that we say the correct things to our viewers. In the Fourth Republic in Ghana, they now have a new constitution that divides the power between between the president and the parliament, cabinet, council of state, and independent judiciary. That is to say, they don't have they no longer have parliamentary form of government like we do in the United Kingdom. They now have executive president who is voted for separately. I mean, I just wanted to correct that. Otherwise, our viewers will be thinking, oh, they have a parliamentary government like the United Kingdom. No, the Fourth Republic has changed that one, and it's just it's a small correction, but which is very important for students of political science. And so, Quo Vadis, finally, Nat, Quo Vadis, where do we go from here?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, thanks for that correction. I was thinking, yeah, I was assuming that they run. I know that they run a parliamentary legislative arm of government, and assuming that the president is also a member of the parliament.
No.
Sense. Then, if that is not the case, that means they're running a mixed democracy of the parliamentary institution.
Just like Nigeria.
Moving forward, I think the issue is about building institutions, building strong institutions, and believing that the institutions will be a key player in any major political or democratic crisis that emerges within a state. We can see what is happening in the United States. If they had a weak institution, maybe Trump would have had his way to the end. But as it stands, so Trump knows that he can't get out of this by any way he wants to go about it, because there's a strong, there's a strong principles that have been there for over 100 years. So he can play out of that. And so we have the same thing in the United Kingdom. There's no way you can play around the institutions and want to get away with it. The institution will bring you down. If you like it or not, you'll be brought down. So I think the way for Africa is beginning to see the importance of democratic and political institutions being the pivotal of running a society. If leaders begin to see that, they will begin to see governance as a service to the people, not as a rulership, not as a power to rule by ethic, but by the power to rule by the principles of understanding of the people, for the people, and by the people. And that will make society more buoyant, more conducive, more friendly, more productive, more progressive.
I agree with you. I'm just looking at the time that we have. We don't have much time now, and we want to say one important thing, especially in Nigeria. I don't know how far it has reached the rest of Africa, but it appears that the second wave of the COVID-19 is taking more people into their graves earlier than expected. In Nigeria, about 10 professors died in 10 days. They attended some weddings and other parties, and many prominent people in the Nollywood have died in the last 2 weeks. let our in-house researcher Nat update Nigerians and indeed the whole world.
Thank you very much. The COVID-19 who started in China late 2019 arrived in Nigeria in February 2020, and the figures have kept going up. As we speak, we have 101,331 cases, confirmed cases of COVID-19.
Infection.
We have one. Hello?
Infection?
Infection, yes.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
Positive, yeah. 1,361 deaths have been recorded. 1,361 deaths have been recorded. It's likely there could be more of that. And as we speak, Nigeria is running out of oxygen and bed spaces to admit more COVID positive people.
Patient.
And people are now being treated in their homes because the public hospitals and even the private don't have enough bed spaces. So the challenge we have had of recent was this issue of a variant virus coming into the scene, which we understand it spreads very fast, it's contagious, and maybe more deadly. So the issue now is, how do we combat this coronavirus in Nigeria and maybe Africa? The issue of a vaccine, instead of bringing the actors, main actors, government actors, state actors, is dividing nations, is dividing even professionals in the field. The issue of a vaccine, the vaccine that has been rolled out by Pfizer, which other one? The one from Oxford,
Moderna, Oxford, yes.
Moderna, Oxford, and others. The scientists, the medical sciences, and the politicians are divided on how safe is this vaccine. Can it guarantee the safety of the people who will receive the vaccine? And they throw up this issue of, up to the date as we speak, there has been no vaccine developed or accepted yet for HIV and malaria, which has killed more people over the decades. But here we have a vaccine that has been rolled out with speed, with high velocity, and is being administered on people. And so the issue is the WHO, who has recommended some specific vaccines for the Western world, and another one for Africa. It raises so many questions as to exactly what is going on, what is happening, what is the game plan of the World Health Organization, and then the local health ministry. Because what these developing countries did, especially in Africa, they just accepted line, hook, and sinker whatever came from WHO. There was no any domestication or research or study of these vaccines and see their efficacy and see their effect on the people. This is where we are at the moment.
Do we have the list of those professors who have died and making waves in the social media?
Well, I know some of them. One of them was a personal and sufficiently close friend, right from secondary school, Professor David Kola Ayedun. Then we have Professor Odekunle. Odekunle used to be a lecturer in ABU Zaria, but now the Presidential Committee on Corruption. Professor Ebitapo Obe, Professor Adeyelami was one of them.
Ajayalemi.
Adeyalemi, okay.
Professor Ajayalemi. Yeah.
Yeah, so these are some of the professors that have died, and the COVID is taking away our best brains, the smart people who still had some years of service to render to the Nigeria and the world in general.
So what advice will you give Nigerians, including professors? What advice will you give them?
The advice
Go
I
on.
would give at the moment, COVID-19, the virus is real. The variant is real. Although studies are still on to know the exact properties, characteristics, and the behavior of this virus. But from all indications, even when we talk of the conspiracy theories, it seems the coronavirus, the variants are with us. And what I will advise as a layman, I'm not a medical practitioner, I'm not a politician or medical scientist. We have this abbreviation of DREAM, D for diet, R for rest, E for exercise, A for alternative therapy, and M for motivation. The virus.
Let me ask Mazi. Let me ask Mazi whether he will agree with your dream and therapy. Mazi Gossi, you've had his dream therapy. D for what? What did he say? D was what?
D is for diet. What have you been eating? Your
diet.
lifestyle.
Is that diet? Does it include jollof rice or what kind of diet? Okay, Mazi, what's your advice for Nigerians, especially at a time like this? And because you had nuts, D for diet. I love diet, you know.
R for rest.
Well, diet is good for most of us who they think we are overweighting our level, overweighting our age and our body mass.
Okay,
but then,
what's your advice to Nigerians?
My concern here is very important. Is that the level of media communication, the level of social media exposure of the statistics of death rate with regards to COVID in Nigeria are not balancing. They are not balancing. And they are not helping situation. And they are not very good for the families of those that have been exposed all the time. Because we keep hearing only names of very wealthy or very prominent, highly placed Nigerians being the one that the media always flashes. Who cares about flashing how many poor people die? How many poor people have they given us statistics have died? How many of them have they put their name out to say, this guy from the slums of Isolo, the slums of Munshi, the slums of Masara, the slums of Agbagi, or Abagi, or in Wari, or in Sapele, or the slums of Owerri, slums of Aba, are died of COVID. Can they give us statistics, real statistics, comparisons? Why must it always be about big people? Why must it be about the rich people? You're talking about diet, talking about exercise, talking about resting. Does the poor man have time for all this you're talking about? How many of them could do that? And if
they don't do that, they're going to die.
Yeah, they're not dying,
so
but the rich who are supposed to be doing it and are supposed to have the leverage to do it are being announced to be dying. So who are you going to blame?
You have 30 seconds. Any more advice? You have 30 more seconds.
The issue here is people should mind the way they communicate issues that happen with Nigerians and the COVID. Nigerians should be mindful of how they relate with people outside their home. Look, there are so many. The other day they went and took people from a nightclub in Lagos, hundreds of them. This is like 7 days after. Have they announced anybody dead from among them?
Okay, so we're going to leave the program like this today. Let me thank my colleagues very well who have done a lot of research and trying to share their knowledge with us. Mazi Gosin Azu, thank you very much for appearing on the show today. We look forward to many more weeks of your appearance. In-house researcher Nat Yako, it's my pleasure to thank you for all the contributions and researches. And we're going to remember dream. But if you don't sleep, how do you dream? So, but D is for diet. I think I will remember that. I will remember R is for rest, E for exercise, A for alternative therapy, and M. What is M for?
Motivation.
Motivation. Okay. On that note, I hope everyone will be motivated.
That is only relevant to big people.
We meet next Wednesday, and we understand that a new political party is coming up now. The best of APC and the best of PDP, they're meeting together, and the pilot men are Okorocha and Wiki, but we are not going to tell you their secret right now. Meet us next week, Wednesday, for the top political party in Nigeria. My name is Shegun Johnson. The program is You Decide. I'm to thank our studio crew who have made this possible, and our executive director, Dr. Alisa Shiode. Until next Wednesday, God bless Nigeria. God bless the world.
Ben TV, your ethnic and Africa-led television, welcomes your input, contribution, and support to facilitate our continuous program production, campaign for projects, and other media-related services. We have been here for closer to 2 decades.